Joining us now is retired General Paul Vallely, a military analyst for Fox News, and he's also chairman of the Stand Up America Project. General Vallely has written 2 books, Endgame, Blueprint for Victory in the War on Terror, and Operation Sucker Punch. General, thank you for being with us.
Fred, glad to be back on your show again. Thanks for the invitation.
Yes, sir. Well, you're always providing helpful insight as to what's going on, and people are wondering what's going on with regard to the president's decision-making process. I'll ask you first what your opinion of what we're reading about General McChrystal's recommendation is. As you know, he said apparently let's assume for a moment that this is accurate, that we're getting information we're getting, front page story about Bob Woodward. He's saying that we're likely to fail unless we have a greater commitment of troops there. Do you have any reason to disagree with that?
Well, I do, Fred, and I think we talked about this last time. I think you have 2 situations here, and I had an opportunity to go over General McChrystal's report that he provided the president. But first of all, I don't think this administration has a strategy. That's why they're delaying. I think they're totally clueless, on international security and warfighting as they are in domestic financial policy. And so I don't think they have a strategy yet other than what General McChrystal has provided in his report, calling for plus-up troops.
Well, the Obama back in March said they had a strategy, a new strategy, including counterinsurgency. What happened?
Well, I think they were picking up from General Petraeus' surge policy, maybe trying to carry that forward, but they certainly appear not to have a strategy at all or know what to do now, and they're sort of befuddled by General McChrystal's request for a plus-up of maybe 30 to 40,000 more troops. But the bubble that we're facing, Fred, is that General McChrystal inherited a bubble over there of fighting a conventional war that's really unconventional. And so he's strapped now. Well, how do you get victory? How do you obtain victory? And they're just going for this surge troops, which I don't think is the answer.
Mm-hmm. What do you think the answer is?
Well, I think, number one, you've got a totally corrupt government in Kabul. We're not putting the assets out where the strength is, and that's with the tribal chiefs, as well as, remember the old Northern Alliance type configuration? Mm-hmm. Boots on the ground in Afghanistan have to be Afghan boots. So that's why we've got to go to what I'm proposing is the lily pad strategy, where we strike the enemy and strike them hard, no borders. The enemy knows no borders, so we cannot continue to fight an isolated war as we did in Iraq when you have Iran supporting the efforts from the outside, and certainly you have the Taliban and Al-Qaeda working out of the tribal region.
How are you going to prevent them from bleeding back over into Pakistan?
Well, that's where the Afghan forces, and my God, in 8 years we haven't trained up enough battalions and brigades to put them out there on the border and attack where necessary. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is what's unbelievable to me. All the money, billions we put in over there, and here 8 years later, we don't have the Afghans that can take care of themselves.
So you're saying that we need both a redeployment of our effort and a redeployment of our firepower. We need to employ aggressive military tactics, but we need to do other stuff we need to do all of the above.
Well, but here's the other thing, Fred. You can't nation build until the enemy's has been defeated. We should have learned that from Vietnam when we tried the pacification program.
Iraq, too.
Iraq as well. And so, as Sun Tzu said, you cannot engage in prolonged warfare. It benefits no one. So you've got to take the resources we have, and God, we've got the finest armed forces in the world, but we're depleting them by trying to do nation building at the same time fight the enemy. So, that's the strategy that we need. And we need to fight it tough and hard and be decisive Fred, I was told in a briefing that happened yesterday in Washington that the formula over in Afghanistan is 10-80-10. 10% of the Afghans support the American effort, 10% support the Taliban, and 80% can go either way.
Do you think
that's after 8 to 9 years over there?
Do you think it's winnable?
Not under the current structure and strategy, and certainly not from the leadership in Washington. So,
do you see any hope? You see any hope for a strategy coming out of this White House that might win?
No, I do not. I think they'll probably pacify General McChrystal with some plus-up troops, but that won't happen until after the first of the year because it takes a long time to get these troops in and out. At the same time, we still have six, figures of troops over 100,000 over in Iraq, and the Marines and Army are getting stretched thin, Fred.
So what it sounds like to me that if your opinion is correct, we're just going to be kind of sacrificing the exposure of a lot of good troops for a hopeless cause.
Well, that's what I believe, unless you have a really good strategy like I've talked about, the lily pad strategy, where we attacked, eliminate, and then we return to the friendly base by using Afghan boots on the ground to train and support and have them fight the war. That's the only way it's going to be done. The Afghans have to win this, not us.
It takes a while to train up those troops, though, doesn't it, General?
Well, 8 years, Fred, we've been at it.
Yeah, well, I mean, we haven't been at it 100%.
No, not 100%. Hell, I could have trained up about 10 battalions in about a year of Afghans because those guys know how to fight in those mountains over there. It's not like they've been sitting in a village. They've been fighting for centuries.
How did is it true? Is it true that McChrystal was told not to submit this request along with his other report that I understand went over there to the White House on August 30?
That's what I understand, and because they didn't have a plan, and they certainly didn't want to fall short of appealing the Barack left-wing elements who don't want any war at all.
One final question, if I may. Who comes up with a plan like this?
Well, what we call the commander in the field, and that's the 4-star, then submits it to General Petraeus at Central Command, then it floats up to the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and then that Joint Chiefs of Staff prepares that consolidated, agreed-upon plan to the White House, to the National Security Team. That's how it works.
I can't believe that hasn't happened when the President of the United States is declaring a few months ago that we're employing a new strategy, and as you say, it takes a while to deploy troops. Among other things.
That's right. Fred, have you seen Obama sitting down with our generals in the White House?
I've seen Obama on television, General. I've seen him on the David Letterman show. Yeah. I've seen him before the United Nations. I've seen him in Pittsburgh. I've seen him in Ohio. Yes. I've seen pictures of him going to the golf course.
I'd be sitting with my general saying, how are we going to win this tomorrow, and let's get with it. And I'd be meeting with them. I'd be telling the American people I'm meeting with my generals and admirals, and we got a plan for victory.
Exactly.
They can't do it.
General Vallely, thank you for being with us again.